Welcome and thank you very much for coming to this Masterclass Middle East Geopolitics and Europe's Neighbourhood. As you know, this Masterclass is based on the question, is going to try to answer the question, how to stop migration from Libya. And it's my honor in the name of the Tahrir Institute for Middle East Policy, and also, if I may, in the name of the Institute for European Studies, to welcome Mahmoud Jibril, former Prime Minister of Libya, and one of the most strongest and no doubt most visionary voices on the future of Libya. I also would like to welcome Professor Bart De Schutter, who is a former president of the VUB and also former president of the Institute for European Studies. He's going to introduce Mahmoud Jibril, and so it's my honor to give you the floor, Professor.
Thank you very much, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Institute of European Studies, together with the Tahrir Institute, I would like to welcome you to this second lecture of the series, Masterclasses, Middle East, Geopolitics in Europe's Neighbourhood. And a special welcome, of course, goes to Dr. Mahmoud Jibril, coming from Cairo, in order to enlighten us about the big issues and challenges which are still today the case in Libya. I have to apologize the formally announced chair of today, which was Mr. Karel de Gucht, the former EU Commissioner for Belgium, now president of our Institute European Studies, but unfortunately he has an important board meeting of the Institute at this very moment. So that's the reason why I have the honor to replace him. And it is indeed a great honor to have Dr. Jibril here as speaker. He's not just an important Libyan politician. He has been and he is a key player during and after the Libyan revolution against Gaddafi. And in order to situate that, I need to go back into, I think, the NATO intervention in Libya in the March of 2011. Remember the beginning of 2011, I think few people in Europe had an idea of what was going on in Libya. We had faced these situations in Tunisia and Egypt, protests against dictators which were toppled, Ben Ali and Mubarak. Obviously, two major events in those both countries, not only because they left or were forced to leave after massive peaceful protests. But when similar protests started in Libya, we might have guessed that the reaction of Gaddafi would be rather different. And indeed, that is exactly what happened. In his infamous speech on the citadel of Tripoli in February 2011, he threatened the opposition. He warned that he would go after every critical voice, house after house, apartment after apartment, alley after alley. And that is exactly what he did without mercy. Without any second thought, in the second week of March, he sent an entire army to the epicenter of the revolt, Benghazi. The goal was clear, and when American forces intercepted the order from Gaddafi to the army generals, there were only 3 words: kill them all. What was going to happen was one of the largest massacres in modern times. Among the very few people who saw this coming was Mr. Mahmoud Jibril. And in the week of March 2011, he convinced the European Parliament, at that time the High Representative Catherine Ashton, the French President Sarkozy, and the US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, to change their position on Libya and try to stop that coming massacre. It was not easy, as the United States firmly announced that they were against any intervention of their part. But nevertheless, Dr. Jibril succeeded, and in March 19, NATO fighter jets stopped the troops of Gaddafi as they were already entering Benghazi. Those who are now claiming the intervention in Libya was a mistake don't remember, may have forgotten the tragedy that was in the making. It is true that NATO and Europe did not do a rather good job in the follow-up after Gaddafi was killed in October 2011. Even though Mr. Jibril, who was Prime Minister of Libya during that time, asked the West to help to rebuild Libya's security, not much was done. But I'm sure that he will allude to that himself. And even more, leading Libya in a revolutionary times as Prime Minister and convincing the world of stopping the Benghazi massacre are not the only achievements of Dr. Jibril. He decided to play a key role in the new domestic Libya and founded the National Forces Alliance, a political umbrella of several political parties, NGOs, and national figures. It was, and still is, a liberal party pleading for a moderate Islam and a democratic civil state. In the elections of 2012, the National Forces Alliance gained 48% of the popular vote and became the largest party. Libya is the only country in the Middle East and North Africa where the Muslim Brotherhood did not win the elections after the Arab Spring, and this is quite an achievement, mainly thanks to Dr. Jibril. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, today it doesn't go very well with Libya. It's not only in chaos and war, it's also the country where thousands of migrants gather in order to make it to Europe. And we all have seen and daily see human tragedies of people drowning in the Mediterranean Sea after their too crowded boats collapse. We also have seen the picture and videos of migrants being sold as slaves, being tortured, being killed. It is a humanitarian disaster. Since we in Europe still do not find a lasting solution to this massive problem, we are today fortunate to have Dr. Jibril here. More than anyone else, he has a clear vision on what to do and what not to do. And therefore, it's my honor and pleasure to give you the floor, Dr. Jibril.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.